Hi everybody, my name is Kim Nguyen and welcome into my channel. I am the American woman who's going to be doing a special review for you today for BTS's MTV Unplugged presentation of Blue and Gray. Now this is your first time to my channel. I create videos mainly aimed at Americans who are new to BTS or the K-pop genre. So in each of my videos I'm going to explain a little bit about the artist and a little bit about the song so we can share information together. And if you're new or you're just stopping by, I'm glad that you can stop by and check things out. And especially if you are ARMY, because I'm a new ARMY and I love getting information from you guys, and you guys have the best input and suggestions for me. So I welcome everybody into my channel. BTS, otherwise known as Bangtan Sonyeondan, they are the 7-member band from South Korea and are the first K-pop group to have performed on the MTV's legendary Unplugged series. Some of the greatest American artists have had a chance to perform on the stage where it's more of acoustic, bare minimum type of performance. Artists such as Bruce Springsteen, Bon Jovi, and Nirvana, just to name a few. With this virtual concert, BTS featured songs from their B album, which has to be one of the most iconic pandemic era performances seen on TV. Their performances included tracks from the songs, which included Life Goes On, of course their smash hit Dynamite, which was sung all in English. It also included a surprise performance cover of Coldplay's Fix You song and 2 B-side tracks that they featured. One of them was Telepathy, and probably the most critically acclaimed song from the album, Blue and Gray. Each of their songs, they had different sets to feature their various themes of the songs. They also wore different outfits in each one of those. As far as Blue and Gray goes, it was described as a melancholy guitar ballad that the group performed against a backlit, plant-filled greenhouse type of environment that offered blue and gray, that offer a hint of green with the shrubberies and the plants with blue flowers and a gray-white wall. Both Telepathy and Blue and Gray is on the B-side track of their B album that had never been performed live. Blue and Gray is described as having a more simpler melody and light acoustic instruments, which allows the group's vocals to shine, especially with V's soulful baritone, which apparently, quote, has no concept of range. Originally, Blue and Gray was intended to only be a part of V's mixtape that he was working on and was entirely in English. And during an episode of BTS's reality show called In the Soup, a snippet of the original version can be heard in the episode. Our Big Hip describes In the Soup series as, quote, somewhere in between everyday life and leisure. As it implies, the location where they shot this reality show is actually in the forest, where BTS was enjoying much needed downtime. Now during this episode of In the Soup, V revealed his song to the group and his members liked it so much they urged that he incorporate that into their B song. The B album was an opportunity where members have had a chance to personally shape this entire album, from the concept to the packaging to the songwriting and producing. It was a very hands-on approach project for BTS, and from a visual direction they did everything from curating the production, and it says that members went through some very stiff competition to get their proposed songs into the album. But as far as Blue and Gray, it made a special direct entrance in the album, which is handpicked from BTS's V's highly anticipated mixtape. At a global press conference for B, V talked about the track that he was working on for Blue and Gray and revealed the dark meaning behind it. He said that the colors blue and gray represents the feelings of depression and anxiety on the inside of human beings. And while he warned fans that the song can sound very dark, V assured everyone that the sound of the guitar is very calm and warm, so fans should look forward to that. In an interview with Weverse magazine, V goes on to describe the background story for this song. He says, quote, I wrote Blue and Gray when I was at my lowest point, when I was actually asking whether I could keep going with my work or not. Even the fun parts of work became a chore, and my whole life felt aimless. Where do I go from here? I can't even see the end of the tunnel. Those kinds of thoughts hit me hard. He describes himself as being very easygoing and a laid-back person, but he said he was stretched too thin and was starting to sputter. What he was trying to say was he had a really rough time and was thinking, what's waiting for me at the end? It's important to be successful, but I'm also trying to be happy. So how come I'm not happy right now? So that's when I started to write Blue and Gray. Now, V did overcome these feelings. He shared that the only way to beat the feeling blue and gray was, quote, he took care of that feelings was by, quote, constantly writing it down in my notes. He said I just kept writing everything down, and finally I felt like I wanted to try writing a song. I did. After the song was finished, I felt a sense of accomplishment, and that's how I was able to let go of Blue and Gray. That was one way I wanted to try getting over my problem. Now, V is very active on social media, especially on Weverse, which is Big Hit Entertainment's social media app. And he said that he wanted to provide not just mere words of, quote, cheering up, rather a compassionate ear to everyone who's going through something. He said that rather than just some stranger telling them to cheer up, I think it's better to say something like, quote, you seem depressed lately, or, quote, seems like these days it's tough for you to pick up. Well, Blue and Gray is the same. You're depressed lately? Me too. We're in the same boat. Want to talk about your feelings? You're going to feel better, right? I know, but sometimes it feels like you're being washed away by the whirlpool of stress. I want the listeners to hear me saying that to them. Now, Big Hit Entertainment did release some of these Blue and Gray notes, which premiered on November of 2020. In a 30-second video, you can see Taeyong is sitting with his pet Yeoltang while writing notes on his phone. And he appears to be thinking as he draws various figures on his phones while looking out the window. And in the background, you can hear him singing the verse from the song. BTS V is one of the co-producers of Blue and Gray with other external artists such as his Noise, Levi, and Neve, and all four of them also co-wrote the tune in conjunction with Metaphor and also some of the BTS members, which includes RM, J-Hope, and Suga. Blue and Gray was officially released to the public in November of 2020. So getting a little technical with the song, Blue and Gray is described as a slow, melancholic, soft pop ballad with a length of about 4 minutes and 14 seconds. The song is set in a, quote, cinematic arrangement of minor chords and relies on sparse yet tender production that includes acoustic guitar, twinkling pianos, and wistful strings. The song contains spoken words as well as rapping segments interspersed with, quote, breathy and crooning, eerie whale calls, vocals, and chilly chords. The song uses the colors of blue and gray to, quote, illustrate depression and anxiety. Lyrically, the song explores themes of fear, depression, burnout, and pandemic-induced loneliness. Commercially, the song debuted at number 13 on the US Billboard Hot 100, becoming BTS's 6th highest charting entry into the chart in its opening week, and the song sold over 69,000 units in the United States, becoming the second top-selling song of the week in December of 2020, only behind BTS's Life Goes On. It also reached number 2, both the US Digital Songs Sales and the World Digital Song Sales charts. As far as the Billboard Global 200, which tracks the most streamed and digitally sold songs in over 200 territories, Blue and Gray arrived at number 9, earning 26.8 million streams and 87,000 units sold globally. It became BTS's third top 10 hit on the chart and also became the third song from the B album to enter the top 10. The song also entered at number 15 on the Billboard Global XL US charts, which tracks the same metrics with the exclusion of the United States. And in one of the interview behind the scenes with Neve, he said that he first met V totally by chance, and that was how he received the opportunity to work on their album. Now, V did originally suggest that to Neve that he wanted a song with a theme of, quote, gloominess, but it wasn't just about being gloomy and depressed, but rather about finding hope and comfort even through the gloom. So with this concept, they discuss this a little bit further and how it can be a little bit more abstract with the theme and express it through colors. Initially they thought black and white, but that was too common, but ultimately they chose to go with blue and gray, which is a little bit more rare. Now he further added that the hardest part of creating this song was trying to describe this concept through sound. He's noted that the first instrument that was played had to be one of the most important parts of the song because it had to accurately portray the overall mood of the track. And quote, I wanted to use something with a clear but raw sound, so I decided it would be best to start with a plug-in / virtual instrument and play with them on a keyboard. So the various instrument that he did decide upon, he went with a virtual nylon guitar. As far as orchestral type of sound, he used strings, which fits with the tone and texture of blue and gray. He further noticed there was a virtual clarinet that helped push the climax of the song. And with the piano added, this added a pretty color to the sound. Its addition captured the quote, the coldness and the warmness at the same time. Another interesting technical element would be the sound of a heartbeat. He said that the sound of the heartbeat is very comforting, and so he added it into the song. Quote, it's like you know it's there, but it doesn't stick out in the song, and with its presence, I like to think that it helps the song feel much more comforting. Another special element in the song he noted was the sound of his own voice, which was altered, of course, and he used that to set it in the final climax of the song, and he thinks this expressed a quote beautiful gloom in a way that nothing else could. Upon its release, Blue and Gray received huge acclaims from music artists and fans worldwide. The song was praised by the director of Who for normalizing talking about depression. Going back to the use of color, Tay meant to capture the feelings of experience of having sadness and depression and through the anxiety per se through the language of colors. The colors blue and gray, since it has like endless association with symbols and words and expressions, and some elements you'll hear within the song such as a blue question mark, echo that is colorless, gray rhino, cold winter streets, which give it some fog, dust, city, and rain. Also the word shadow is also seen throughout the lyrics, and it is personified at one point as it, quote, engulfs. Now the shadow could also possibly be an illusion of how the shadow can gray out the color, and in a metaphorical sense can gray out our lives. Taeyong cited that he was inspired by the word gray from RM, who uses that in his songs when he talks about his world seems gray after all. Blue and Gray became the most critically acclaimed song of the album. It made V the only member to have 2 production credits and composition and lyricism credits, which includes the skit and Blue and Gray, making it his 14th Kamka accredited song. Blue and Gray also trended worldwide on Twitter with 2 keywords. Blue and Gray also became the first and fastest B-side track from the B album to reach 1 million and 2 million views in less than 9 hours, and is still the most viewed and liked song among all on the B-side tracks on YouTube. The audio track for Blue and Gray surpassed 2 million streams on YouTube Music, and it also remains the most streamed and most liked track from the B album on YouTube Music. And of course, music critics also had this to say about his song Blue and Gray. According to the LA Times, Blue and Gray was noted as being beautifully harmonized emotional track that documents the homebound lonely era of music that we are in today. According to the Metro UK, they noted that it is one of the tracks that acts as a time capsule, which is likely to connect with many who have struggled with their mental health. They also highlighted that it was refreshing for the world's biggest band to address anxiety and depression so candidly, with the Evening Standard in the UK named the track as the schmaltziest moment of the album. And since November of 2020, Blue Gray has steadily been rising worldwide on the iTunes chart, becoming the 2nd highest charting song on the album and as of now, the song has charted in 38 countries, most notably reaching the top 3 in the UK and the US. The audio track surpassed over 1 million streams on YouTube, making it the most liked and most streamed audio track from the album. It's also the highest trending B-side track currently trending on the top 10 in several countries, and at number 6 worldwide. MTV has very strict copyright policies, and with these particular MTV Unplugged series, they've taken down a lot of videos. I've loaded a couple videos already and have been blocked, so I know what's happening there. So I'm going to have to do a lot of editing to this song. I highly recommend that if you haven't had a chance to watch the original video, go ahead and watch the original video first, and then come back here and take a look at this reaction. Okay? So with that said, let's get started. This is V. Before we go to him, this beautiful setting. It looks like they brought the outdoors inside. It's lush and green. Notice there are blue flowers as stated, and the walls seem kind of gray, and you have this bright sunshine coming in. Very calming effect, and then you hear the guitar. You hear that string guitar, that virtual guitar that Neve was talking about, and then you have V in the distance, so there it's a zoom in into V to get his close up, and with that sunshine, you know, hitting you, it's just very dramatic, but yet calming at the same time.
Someone call me Sam. 지친 하루의 한 순간 사람들은 다 가봐. Can you look at me 'cause I am blue and gray.
These lyrics, this is very poetic. The melody is haunting and it pulls you in already. Gorgeous melody. The writing on it is so artistically expressed. Let me go back a little bit. The lyrics on some of this, you guys, it's just beautifully and poetic. It's like, where is my angel? At the end of the day, someone come and save me, please. Only a sigh after exhausting day. This is Jungkook, another vocalist coming in. Everyone seems happy. Can you look at me? 'Cause I'm blue and gray. This is a very desperate call out for help. You know, it's very sad.
I am blue and gray. 거울에 비친 눈물의 의미는 웃음을 감춰진 내 색깔 blue and gray.
He's, you know, unhappy, but yet people don't really see that. People aren't seeing that. They're not recognizing that.
거울에 비친 눈물의 의미는 웃음을 감춰진 내 색깔 blue and gray.
My colors hidden behind my smiles of blue and gray. And notice the emotion. Not only are they singing in a very soft tone, they're not rushing or pushing the melody out. And Jungkook here with the tenor, he's expressing his body. He's leaning against the wall as if he's defeated, you know, as if he's so sad. That makes me so sad. Jungkookie, you'll be okay. And before this, it sounds like a rapper. It sounds like Suga is coming in next, transitioning to Suga. Let me play that back a little bit here.
어디서부터 잘못됐는지 이제 모르겠어. 나 어디서부터 머릿속에 파란색 무릎이 어쩜 그랬어. 치열하게 살았는지 뒤를 돌아보니 여기 집어삼켜버리는 저 서스퍼는 여전히 더 파란색. 불안한지 어딘지 어쩌 정말 후회도 원인지 아니면 외로움이나 나일지 또 여전히 모르겠어. 서스퍼는 blue 잠식되지 않길 바래. 찾을 거야 출구.
Okay, they do this a lot in their songs. Every time they bring in a rapper, the cadence changes, the tempo changes, the rhythm changes for the rap line. It's amazing. Even though this is not a high energy, very choreographed, this is no choreo as far as big dance moves, okay? This is choreographed as far as their movements, I'm sure. But he's expressing the words. If you're looking at Suga's line here, he's using the word blue. That's Suga's key phrase that he's describing is blue. And it's just the way they transition from the rap line back to the choreo or back and forth is so smooth and effortless. And it's wonderful. They do an amazing job at that.
All these grand things so heavier, I am singing by myself.
Okay, let me go back. That was Jimin. Jimin is another vocalist. I believe Jimin is probably one of the highest range tenor. Jimin's voice, like V, is so unique. So unique. His voice sticks out no matter what. You would recognize Jimin's voice. He hits that high vocal range like nothing. And he adds the texture. I mean, he's just beautiful, angelic, very soft and airy and light. These tenor voices are just, it sets the mood. It sets the frame of what's happening with the song. And look at this visual. It's like a linear, like a tunnel almost, but yet kind of hopeful because there's like a spring-like greenery and flowers that's there. Almost like a depressing state, but yet there's hope. Things that are growing, the things that are flourishing, this gloom and depression.
거리를 걸을 때 느낀 빨라진 심장의 지금도 느끼곤 해 괜찮다고 하지만 괜찮지 않으니까 제발 혼자 두지 말아줘 너무 아파.
Okay, before they transition to J-Hope, that was beautiful. That was two end of the spectrum from BTS. That was Jimin, who's probably got the highest range as far as his vocal voice, and then you have the deepest baritone voice, soulful voice coming from V, and the blend together is just magical. It's pure harmony that's just so beautiful and uplifting. The contrast is so obvious, but yet they blend beautifully together. And again, the way they're expressing their body through the movement, and even though, like I said, this is not a high choreographed dance movement, their dance movement is more or less in like an acting type of storytelling type of movements that they're doing. It's slow and it is deliberate in how they're turning their body, they're putting their heads down, and their tone of voice. Okay, it's beautiful. And now we're transitioning to J-Hope, another rapper.
늘 걷는 길과는 맞는 비법 오늘은 왠지 낯선 씬 무뎌진 걸까 근데 무겁긴 하다 이 쇳덩이 다가오는 회색 공신아 너 걸어니 서있어 나답지 않아 이 순간 그냥 무섭지가 않아 넌 확신이란 신잡이야 믿어 색채 같은 말을 간지러 넓은 회색 지대가 편해 여기 수억가지 표정이 그래 비가 오면 내 스스로 춤춘다 맑은 날의 안개를 먼지들 위에 축배를
Okay, notice RM and J-Hope. You have the three rapper there. Sugar there on the front left there, and then you had J-Hope that just sung right before RM. Those are the three rappers, and they write these special parts for the rappers, again blending in so beautifully from transitioning from one person to another. It seems like when RM came in, he came in hard. He tends to be more, I don't know how to describe him, his rapping style. His flow's a bit more assertive, aggressive, a little bit more hard-hitting, whereas Suga in the front left here, he's more laid back. He's more of a chill. Now, he can go hard, don't get me wrong. All these rappers can go hard, right? But he tends to be more laid back in his approach. And then you have J-Hope, which is somewhere in the middle as far as the cadence. The cadence starts to pick up with these rappers, and notice RM comes in, he uses the word gray. Same way Suga came in and used the color blue in his lyrics. So each of these rappers had their own cadence, had their own tempo, and then they have their different, the way they approach their lyrics. Each of them are rapping but in their own unique style. It has also been described that the vocalists here, Jin, Jungkook, V, and Jimin, are singing in what they're calling a lower range than they normally would in the songs. And the lower range of tones supposedly suggest melancholy, sadness, and calmness. And while the higher range tones is reserved for like climaxes, passion, and intensity. Sort of like this two existing juxtaposition that's happening here. That's really interesting. Okay, let's go on. Look at that facial expression. When artists can sing with their face and their body, they express it through their movements. Here, Jimin is doing it through his face. He's looking down. He's fat. He's very sad. His facial expression also expressing that, which pulls us in. You know, it's that drama that kind of pulls us in, and also adds to the depth and texture of what he's trying to express through his facial expressions. Beautifully done. Oh, this crowd feels so heavy. I'm singing my voice. Oh my God, V. Okay, V. Oh, this crowd feels so heavy. I'm singing my voice. V, even though he's a baritone, has the most amazing range. He can hit those falsettos and the high notes like a lot of these vocalists can. And that's why he's so talented, and just whether he sings the low baritone, which he's known for, that rich, sultry, soulful, deeper, darker voice, or he goes and changes it up and goes and slides up into his head voice, his falsettos, which is equally beautiful and very angelic as well. He's just an amazingly talented singer, and that just showed his range right there. Look at that. Jimin needs to be in acting. He's gonna make me cry, and you do not want to see me do the ugly cry. I do not have what do you call it, waterproof mascara on right now, you guys. I cannot cry. Jimin, stop looking at us that way. Look at J-Hope peeking on behind us. Oh my God, these guys are just making me. I'm about to cry right now, you guys. Jin, look at Jin, same thing. Jin's facial expression, all of them are looking down. His head is tilted to the side. His shoulder almost slumped. It's expressing not through your vocal tones, but through movements, through very gentle, very slow, and captivating movements. All of these singers can do. It's amazing. Zooming in on V. Okay, take a look at his words right here. This is the musical bridge. Did you guys hear the vocals? That was Niv's voice. He contributed to that high. Listen to it again. That was not an instrument. That was a human voice.
이제 새벽잠이 드네 그날
Good night. With the sun brightly shining. That was so beautiful. It was so sad, but yet so comforting at the same time. It was somebody expressing the most deepest, most intimate part of their being to the world and wanting their voice to be heard, but yet wanting it to not be ignored and not just being told it'll be okay. You know, it won't be okay. And saying that, you know, if you feel this way, it's okay. Let's talk about this. You know, let's share our thoughts and our feelings. Because with life, sometimes you get the storm, not just the sunshine, but you get the rain, you get the clouds and the sunshine, you get the yin and the yang in life, right? You get the good and the bad. Not every day you're gonna feel like the song Telepathy that's upbeat and fun and energetic. There are days when life hit you and you're gonna feel sad and at your worst and down, and when you question yourself and everything that you do, your purpose in life. And so I think this is a very real human experience that Tay was trying to convey, and to let the world know that you can express yourself and it's okay to feel this way because it's the human experience. We are all going through this. No one's life is perfect, and life definitely is not perfect. Right now we're in a pandemic and it's probably creating more anxiety and depression for a lot of people right now. And with the real issue of depression, with the themes of depression and loneliness, it's very common in what's happening with the pandemic right now. So with V trying to express this, that so no wonder a lot of people can relate to this song and love it so much because it does bring them comfort and acknowledges their feelings. And Blue and Gray was also described as very much, quote, like the heart of the album, not only due to its emotive bareness and candor, but also how composition characteristics itself as the heart, the imagery of the heart can be found and heard with a heartbeat sound pulsing in the background in a low-key style throughout the chorus. And of course you have that preceding guitar that is quote notable guitar picking, which seems intentional to kind of create an experience of the song that deliberately tugs the listener's heartstrings. So there's not much more I can say was that V's expression of the experiences that he was going through and sharing it with the world is definitely a healing gift to the world. And V is our heart. We love him as well as the rest of all of BTS. They are our hearts. We love every single one of them, and we're so grateful they came out with the B album, and also V contributing to this, that I would say besides being one of the most critically acclaimed songs from the album, is definitely the heart of the album. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed my live performance reaction of the MTV Unplugged series for Blue and Gray. If you do, please give this a like and go ahead and share some comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and maybe how this album has helped you personally. The mental health, this is important because it does impact the physical health as well. So also, if you want to, go ahead and subscribe. And if you get a chance, please check out all of my other music video reactions. Love to get to hear your thoughts on it. Love to hear from you as well. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.